Chapter 216. Light blazed and space tore open in the most tucked-away alley of the seventh wall of the Empire's capital. Two men dressed in pilgrims' robes emerged from the open space, unperturbed by the startled rats scurrying away. They calmly surveyed their surroundings. "Is this the place we remembered?" "Yes, just in case I set our location here." "Good. It seems we are close to the meeting place as well. Hosanna, put on your hats and gloves. We are moving immediately." The man with a horrific burn scar covering half of his face, Nahan, donned a pilgrim's hat, which concealed his features up to his neck. Despite having just committed a murder, his face remained disturbingly serene. He put on long gloves, entirely concealing his skin, and began to walk as if nothing had happened. Beside him, Hosanna, looking a little anxious, followed suit and put on his hat and gloves. He limped slightly as he struck close behind Nahan. "Why have the noble priests of light come to such a desolate place? Would you like to try some medicine that I sell?" "Gentlemen, who are you looking for? Shall I help you?" As they exited the spiderweb-like alley, their surroundings swarmed with cautious and greedy eyes. Nahan ignored an old man who extended a hand with a sinister smile and passed by. But Hosanna didn't know how to react. He stopped only to have an old man grab his wrist. "Don't be a nuisance. Scram." Nahan, who had returned, spat out a word to the old man who was holding Hosanna. With a scream, as if they had seen a terrifying monster, the menacing glances momentarily vanished. "Thank you, young master. Did you use your power?" "Yes." "You shouldn't get caught because of me. I'm sorry." Nahan disregarded Hosanna's apology, pulling him by the arm, and resumed walking. This time, they were able to make it to the main road without any interruptions. Ordinary folks bustling in the market entrance didn't find anything odd about the two priests in pilgrims' attire. It had been a while since they naturally melted into the crowd and started walking when Nahan finally opened his mouth again. "Hosanna?" "Yes, young master. There probably won't be any big problems, but just in case, I'm telling you this beforehand. Once we reach the meeting point, do not open your mouth. If there's an emergency and I give you a signal, open up the space immediately, somewhere we can escape to." "Understood." "Don't let your guard down. We are almost there. One of the brothers sent by the sage will be waiting there." The cruel voice echoed somberly from within the pilgrim's hat. They entered an alley close to the sixth wall and arrived in front of an old house located amidst aged, dilapidated inns. As soon as Nahan checked the small plaque attached to the heavily rusted gate, a man emerged from the alley behind them. "You're late. Do you know how long I have waited?" "Well, it just happened." "Nahan, why do you always take the sage's requests so lightly?" The man, who was about to speak further with a frown, let out a sigh and dropped his gaze. "Just come inside for now. I am definitely reporting this." "Do as you wish, brother." Nahan followed him, his face entirely devoid of fear. When the man knocked on the rusty door, someone peered out from inside after a moment. "When did the priests arrive? This isn't a temple." "We heard there was someone here who wished to mend what cannot be mended." The brash tone of Nahan's words immediately changed the expression in the eyes of the man who emerged from within. He scanned the three of them from top to bottom before sharply opening his mouth. "State your name." "Star of Nagran." "You have come in a strange attire." Only then did the man snort and step aside. "Enter. The person you seek has already arrived, but we must perform a small check to ensure you carry no danger before you proceed. I hope you understand. Nahan, Hosanna, and another man patiently waited as the host checked their pockets. He found nothing on Nahan, but when he pulled out scriptures and holy symbols from Hosanna's possession, he adopted a visibly shaken expression. He seemed to doubt if they were truly priests. Fine, follow me. The house inside was very dark and smelled musty. However, following the host up to a room on the second floor revealed an improbably clean space. In front of the cushion that covered half of the room, incense has been lit, casting an enchanting fragrance. Through the faint light cast by the incense, Nahan and Hosanna could see the silhouette of someone sitting behind the curtain. Although seated, the robust stature of the middle-aged man was clearly visible. Master, the guests have arrived. Finally, they are here. The shadow of the figure behind the curtain moved gently, waving a hand. Sit down there. If there was a typical noble demeanor full of arrogance and formality, this man embodied it. Even after all three had taken their seats, the man did not speak for quite some time, observing them as if scrutinizing something. Any ordinary person might have been too intimidated or terrified to speak first, but even after a considerable time had passed, the guests maintained their composure. Finally, the man behind the curtain seemed satisfied and broke the silence. Indeed, you do not seem ordinary. Thank you for coming. We can skip the boring parts about where I heard about you and why I invited you. Yes, at Nahan's response, the middle-aged man chuckled quietly. Even though I am in exile due to unfortunate circumstances, a friend of mine who used to be an Apetos collaborator highly praised your abilities. Frankly, when I first heard about it, I doubted how a man could cure a disease of the mind. But seeing you today, oddly enough, I'm convinced. I will get to the point. Can you show me once again the miracle you showed him? A miracle? It was a heavy word. After a brief silence, Nahan nodded. Certainly, it's possible, given a few conditions are met. Conditions? You mean seeing the face and making direct eye contact? Yes. So, it means that it's possible right now if you just see the face? That's right. More bold and succinct than I thought. After making that evaluation, the middle-aged noble tapped the end of the cane he was holding. After a moment, he seemed to have made a decision and gestured to the attendant standing in the corner of the room. Good. The curtain may now be drawn back. Yes, master. The guide respectfully approached and pulled back the curtain. The man, hidden inside, finally revealed himself, grinning heartily at Nahan and Hosanna. Do you know who I am? We do not. Aren't you curious? We understand it's not our place to be curious about your identity. Indeed, clever. Now, let's see your faces. Hosanna hesitated for a moment, but after seeing the subtle gesture from Nahan indicating that it was safe, he removed his pilgrim's hat. Unlike the other, more ordinarily looking person, Nahan and Hosanna were distinctively noticeable, yet the noble man showed little reaction upon seeing their faces. This was due to Nahan's ability, which he had employed the moment they entered, enabling him to control the small space and distort what was seen. Very well, I will give you one chance. I have been plagued by a horrendous migraine for a long time. If you can cure it, consider it a small test passed, and I will open up the way for an introduction to the person who truly needs you. But if you can't, you may not leave here in one piece today. It was a threat, not a test. But Nahan didn't flinch. Instead, he gave a chilling, sly smile. He stood up and walked closer to the curtain. The middle-aged man, leaning on his extravagant, jewel-encrusted cane, watched him. Judging from those rings on your fingers, I can guess how much you have suffered. The noble wore several rings, each with a large gemstone, designed to press against his temples for relief. You recognize them? Could you now look into my eyes, please? Like this? The moment their gazes met, the haughty expression on the noble's face slackened in surprise. Hey, you're not intending to trick our master, are you? The guide, worried that Nahan might be up to something, drew his sword from his sheath. However, as his gaze briefly met Nahan's, his face too went blank in astonishment. An eerie illusion started to disrupt their sight and hearing. The sword clattered to the ground, but no one responded to the sound. Idiots! Nahan murmured towards them, opening his mouth with an expression like he was looking at insects. You all can't even resist making eye contact, and yet you keep doing repulsive things. Nahan, we can't kill them, the sage said. I'm not going to kill them, so be quiet, will you? You're distracting me. At Nahan's response, his comrades growled. Hosanna looked at them anxiously, but Nahan didn't care and put his hand on nobleman's head. Then the man, as if he'd seen a delightful fantasy, broke into a wide grin and chuckled while rubbing his hand. Duke Diarca. Yes, this is the method that Darmont found for His Highness the Duke. Now that the Crown Prince is better, he no longer has to worry or lose sleep anymore. Those poor souls, stars or whatever they are, have been taken care of, so there's no issue with what comes next. Please remember my loyalty even after His Highness the Crown Prince ascends to the throne. That would be enough for me. When Nahan withdrew his hand, the nobleman's face returned to its blank state. Nahan looked down at his face, lost in thought for a moment before turning his head. But Hosanna and his comrade couldn't hide their surprise at hearing the names of such significant figures. Diarca and the Crown Prince, huh? Did the sage know about this?